Hello and welcome back to Chatting with Kenyatta. Today I have with me Mr. Brian Washington from Loan Depot, and he is going to discuss some of buy down options for you homeowners who are looking for different options on your purchasing needs. Brian, give me a little
Yes,
information about you.
yeah. First of all, thanks for having me,
Mhm.
Kenyatta. I
You're
know we
welcome.
met at a couple other real estate events. But yeah, Brian Washington with Loan Depot, Assistant Vice President in Community Lending, but more importantly, loan officer and sales manager, helping people to get into their homes. And I'm glad you gave me an opportunity to come out here and share.
Thank you for coming, and you're welcome. So, what you got for us today?
Well, as you know, this market that we're in right now, interest rates are rising. They're on the rise. People still want to buy homes. People still need to buy a home.
Mhm.
And so, the buy down option is a creative way to help a client get into a home without the jolt of a really, high payment. And I guess most importantly, what I will do is to try to illustrate this by, I'll share my screen here and, give you an example of a person, buying a $400,000 property. As you probably know, as you know, in this market now, here we are, February 2000, 25. The average person that is looking at a home or has been looking at homes over time, they are realizing the sellers are dropping their prices by, 10,000, sometimes $20,000 plus. And
Yes.
you don't see, all the time is how much closing cost assistance they're giving. That is well and good. And they're dropping those prices because of what? They want to entice buyers to come buy their home.
Properties, yes.
So exactly, buy their properties. So that way the new buyer has a lower monthly payment.
Mhm.
Well, even I'll show you an example here of a person or a family has a house listed for 400,000 and the seller drops it by, $10,000. And if we look at the payment, okay, I'm assuming you can see everything. Is this large enough for you? Can you see
Yep,
that?
that's large.
Okay. Okay, so across the board, you'll see 3-2-1-2-1-1-1 buy downs, okay? And this is a term we use in our business where the client is the buyer client. There is having an interest rate that will drop 3 basis points from the real interest rate. So in this example, the real interest rate is 7%. Okay. So that's about industry standard right now. So
Mhm.
7% is the interest rate. In the first year, if they agree to a 3-2-1 buy down, and I should say the seller has to agree to this, by the way. If the seller agrees to the 3-2-1 buy down option, then the first year, the effective interest rate for the client is not 7%, it's actually 4%. All right. And wouldn't life be great if we all had 4% interest rates? You and I would probably not have enough time to even be here on this
Right.
Zoom. Exactly, right? Be very busy because there is a serious pent-up demand for purchasing a home. There's people who still want to get out of their apartments, who want to, save on, taxes and build wealth and create generational wealth. Well, with salaries almost the same as they were when interest rates were at 3%, and sales prices almost the same when they were, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when interest rates were 3 and 4%. It's a tough sell.
Yeah.
So in today's market, that same person, if we drop the sales price from 400,000 to 390,000, okay, the payment is $3,360 per month. But if the seller and the buyer agree that the seller's gonna participate in this 3-2-1 buy down option, okay, now the payment is $2,702 per month.
I
So
have a
this is
quick question.
sure,
So
sure.
you said the seller has to agree with this. Now,
Yes.
how would we come to the seller to say, hey, my client has this interesting option to lower their rate?
Mhm.
Mr. Seller, Mr. and Mr. Seller, um, this is what we're going to do. So how would that be explained to the homeowner?
So in simple terms, the seller in this example would have to agree to give over 17,564. Okay.
Uh-huh.
This is the effective difference between a 3-2-1, 3% interest rate and a 7% and a 4% interest rate and 7% interest rate during the first year. Okay. And as you can see here, I have a 2-1 and 1-1. All right. So in year one, the effective interest rate is 4%, and that's their payment is 2702.
Okay.
And year two, the effective interest rate for the buyer is 5%, and the payment goes to 2935. Year
Yeah, right
three,
here.
the effective interest rate is 6%, and the payment is 3182. And then in year four, it will go to 7%. Okay,
Got
which
it.
is the effective rate. Now, that 17,564 sits in our account, and we paid that the difference between 4% and 7% for the first 12 months on behalf of the buyer client.
So it's
And
like
in
an
you,
interest escrow.
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent. That's perfect. You're an A student. So that interest is going to be set aside, and believe it or not, the client still gets a chance to write it off. And let's say in year two, the interest rates drop to a permanent 4 or 5%. Okay,
Mhm.
just going to use some, not maybe not 4, not 3, but say 5%, 5 3/4, 5.5. Client can give me a call and say, "Hey, I want to refinance now. I know I have this 3-2-1 buy down option.
Mhm.
Okay, I would like to now refinance into a permanent 30-year fix." We can do that. So the question is, what happens to that other money that could be left over? Because remember, we're in year two. Let's say we're halfway through year two, and it's not $17,000 anymore in that interest account. Now it's about 9,500. That 9,500 goes toward that client's principal balance. So now they're not refinancing what they would normally refinance. They're refinancing $9,500 less in that example I just explained.
Oh, that's good.
It's an awesome program. And more people, I think, need to take advantage of it. They need, of course, it's all about awareness. You know, here we are in February and taking coining the phrase from Carmelita Turner. She is one of the directors over at the DC Housing and Finance Agency. She says, "Hey, in February, we're sharing the love. In other words, we're sharing the information because many people don't know this product exists."
Mhm.
So and I have 2-1 and 1-1 buy down because sometimes the seller may not be able to participate and give the full 17,005 and change. Well, if they do a 2-1 buy down, then we start off not with the 3-2-1 option. We start off with the 2-1 option. So in year one, instead of a 7% interest rate, the effective interest rate is 5%.
Mhm.
And they start off with a $2,900, monthly payment. So I mean, that is a huge savings. And if a client really wants to take advantage of the scenario and say, "Hey, I really can afford the 3,300, okay?" Because that's what we're going to qualify the client off of. We qualify the client off of the 7% interest rate,
Right.
okay? So if they want, they can take that difference, okay? And I'll do the quick math here. That's about what, $600? Yeah, about $600 per month. Okay. So that client can put that money toward their sorry, oops, there we go. That they can put that money toward their uh, principal and pay down their mortgage even faster. So $658 a month. Or if you really want to get fancy with it, and I wish we had more time, they can put that 658 and put it into an investment account, okay, a systematic investment plan. They could put that away and earn, say, 8 to 10% over that first so many years. Okay. But yeah, it's a great product. It has there's so many options. Again, you can start off with a 3-2-1 buy down, a 2-1 buy down, or a 1-1. Okay, because again, depending on how the seller can negotiate, the seller may or may not be able to participate and give you again that 17,000. Maybe they can give you, 10,000, 12,000. Okay. And that's something that, we all work out behind the scenes. It's all part of negotiations.
Nice.
So yeah, that's 658. I'll stop sharing my screen for 1 second here. Let's see here. But yeah, any other questions from me as I try to set something up for you, just to show you what happens at 658 over time?
Um, I guess while you're trying to set up, talk a little bit about the systematic investment account.
Well, the systematic investment account is not with us. That's a term that, I used to do loans and investments years ago, at the same time, but not in the mortgage space. But what happens is, you put that $658 away for the 12 months instead of putting it toward the mortgage, you put it away in an investment account. That's going to turn into who knows what, in the current market that we're in, depending, of course, how you invest that. So that's something you would call your investment advisor about and say, hey, I've got an extra $600 maybe you don't take the whole 658, maybe you take 300, 400. I want to put this extra 400 per month into toward my investment account, put it into a Roth IRA.
Gotcha.
Or if you don't have, the savings set up, why not put that money into a savings account? Okay. I was talking to a client, I'm putting you on the spot here. I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever played a sport? Have you ever maybe participated in choir or anything like that? Anything you ever had to practice for?
Yes, I did choir in high
Did
school.
choir.
Yeah,
Okay.
and in the church. Not the
Okay.
best
Excellent.
singer, but hey,
Hey,
I was a
exactly.
participant.
There you go. There you go. So I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you to sing for us. However, um, one of the things that I talk to my clients about, and we've discussed this before, is hey, we got the Super Bowl coming up, right? The Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, right? They are in a situation now. They are going to the Super Bowl. They didn't start practice. They're not going to play the
Right
game the
before.
first time tomorrow,
Hmm.
practicing and practicing and practicing. So I'm telling clients, hey, practice home ownership. If hypothetically you're in a situation where you're renting, okay, and you're paying 2,000 a month, come up with your own maximum mortgage payment. 99% of the time, all my clients are saying, okay, maybe I'm paying 2,000. Now I'm going to be ready to pay 3,000 or 3,500. Or like my other client, she said, I'm paying about 2,000. I want to now pay 4,000 because this is the type of house that I want. I said, okay, are you sure? She said, absolutely, I'm sure. Excellent. Well, you're a homeowner today. Congratulations. All right. So as of now, on February 1st, I want you to start putting away $4,000 a month. So 2,000 is going to go toward rent.
Sure.
The other 2,000 is going to go into your, savings account. And you can't touch it under any circumstances at all. Okay. No matter who is having a destination wedding, no matter who is having a party, no matter what happens to the car. Okay. You can't touch this money. It's gone because that's your new life. We're going to now practice home ownership. And you're going to put away, since you're already paying utilities, you're paying it for an apartment for this house. Let's put away an additional 200. So now you're putting away $4,200. Okay. So I said,
That's
all
if they
right,
can afford to do that, though.
said it again.
That's if they can afford to do that, though.
Well, no, remember, she said, I want to
She
do,
can, yeah, but
yeah.
not everybody can.
Yeah, whatever your number is. So today, if your client is the client, if you're out here listening and you're at $1,500 a month, all right, and you say, now I want to start paying 2,000 a month, and I'm
Just
not
put
paying
that excess
utilities,
in
so I
there.
want you to put away 2,250 as an example. Okay, whatever your number is. So with this client, again, her number was 4,000. She was pretty adamant about it. And I said, okay, go for it. Well, guess what? I got a call yesterday. Hey, things have changed. We're not going to go for the 4,000. I think I'm going to go with 3,600. So
Okay,
that's what we want to do.
okay.
Because after closing, you can't call me and say, hey, I do
I can.
want, yeah, I want to reduce that payment.
Uh,
I can't, there's nothing we can do. You're
right.
like, you sign contracts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's a whole different house, We're not there. So it's a situation where it's best now for us, especially, people like you and myself, we're going to help our clients not only buy their home, but stay in their home, understand what life is like, having that mortgage payment, having that utility bill, or those utility bills increase if you're not paying utilities. Now you got to pay utilities. So go ahead and practice now. So guess what happens if we're meeting our clients, 6 months out, 12 months out, okay? What that does, if you're putting away, say, $500 a month, guess what? At the end of 12 months, you've got more money than you had before. You got 6 grand,
Right.
right? So that client goes from not having any money saved up to having 6 grand,
That's a
or
lot of money.
yeah, 24,000, whatever your scenario. Again, whatever your budgetary constraints, or whatever your budget is, because there is a life after your mortgage payment, and that's really the message here. If you don't get anything else, if you don't get anything else from us, get the message. There is a life after you make your mortgage payment, and you want to be ready for that car repair, because that's what I hear it with. I say, hey, what are you going to do when you drive your car? You have your check engine light comes on. You drive into your car repair place of your choice, wherever that is, and they say, okay, it's going to be $1,000. Where's the money going to come from?
Right.
Okay, you have one on a credit card. Okay, that's fine. But your
You
credit
just
card
got to
payment's
pay
going to go
that
up a
back.
smidge. Yeah, you
Yeah.
still got to pay it back. Her first thought was, I'm going to take it from the account we just set up. I said, you can't do
No,
that.
you can't touch it. You
It's
can't
gone.
touch it. That's
Because you
like,
can't.
so right now my brother is staying with us. Well, I call him my brother's son because we adopted him.
Oh, nice.
And he pays us rent, but the
Hmm.
money that he pays, I just put to the side for him.
Yeah.
He decided he wanted to purchase a car. And he was, so when we get to the dealership, they're like, well, can you put down a certain amount of money? So he looked at me and I was like, yeah, sure. So I pulled the money from the account that I had set to the side for him. I said, because that's your money, but it was supposed to be for when you need to move out.
Right.
And I
Right.
was like, and I
Right.
wasn't coming out of my pocket
That's right.
because you didn't set up your financials the way you needed to for these types of luxuries.
How about that?
So now he understands.
The phrase "your car."
Exactly.
Let's lose your money. Yeah, and hey, listen, the good news is, you were able to put that away for him. You made the commitment to do that for him, and that's awesome, because that's another form of, wealth building in our community, and that's great. So I applaud you and your family for doing that. That's great.
Thanks. And he's back at giving me his money and I'm putting it to the side. So that's all that I needed him to do.
Right, right. Speaking of, I'll show you this one last thing with this particular, this presentation. I'll show you, instead of showing you the, 'cause since we've been having so much fun talking, I'll show you something I already have set up here pretty
Okay.
quickly. Give me 1 second. We talk about, wealth building. What does it look like for you as a client after, you buy your home? Where is this wealth located? How does it come about? Okay. So can you see my screen okay? Do I need to enlarge that?
Yes. Nope, that's good.
Okay. So what you have here is a 60-month analysis. All right. And I send this out to all my clients. So what happens after, you paid rent for what, 60 months? You paid out $181. Okay. I'm sorry, not 181, but $1,000. It's a big number. And what
Yes.
do you get when you move out from your landlord? A thank you note? No, you get
You get a
threats of,
security pack and you get your security deposit back, and that's it.
yeah, a
If you
threat.
get that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you get that. Yeah. Get my spot clean, or else you're not getting your money back. And thank you for the $181,800. Okay. Thank you very much. I use that to pay my mortgage. But listen, renting is not the worst. You have a place to live, that's great. But I'm just making the point, let this, kind of resonate with you, that's a lot of money. If you can move, yes, let's move. And that means if you need to cut back somewhere else to make this happen, it's worth it, is the point. So you bought the house for $400,000, and in 5 years, now that same house is worth $486,000, call it $487,000. All right. So that's an $87,000 difference. All right. Do you get all that money if you sell the house immediately? No, because there's some fees, et cetera, to go into that.
Right.
But one thing that's happened is, again, the market has increased your net worth. by $87,000. All right. Now, fast forward even 15 years, gets even more exciting. Now that same house, instead of 400,000, is worth $720,000. All right, and that's how you build wealth. And this
Yeah.
is assuming a appreciation of 4% per year. And I'd even increase the rent for that period of time. All right. And we know rent's going to increase. And
Yeah.
we've got tax benefits in here, et cetera. So this chart, gives you all sorts of information. We can go on and on about that. But the point is, listen, there's other opportunities out here that, can help you get into, buying your home. One of the things that we have at Loan Depot, we do have an $8,000 grant program. We participate with Fannie Mae. We were chosen to participate with Fannie Mae on that. We give up to 3,000. Fannie Mae gives 5,000. There's no income qualification, and there's no, max down payment. Okay, so that is a great program. Our Access Zero program, this one here, I like it because it goes down to a minimum credit score of 600. Okay, the down payment assistance is structured as a fully amortized. That means 30 years you
Yeah.
have to pay back a second mortgage. So that's 100% financing. Plus, the reality is we can do a 3.5% help or 5% help, and maybe we can come back on and talk about this in more detail. But simply put, we're going to basically pay you some of your closing costs in that 5% option, okay? Because FHA only requires a 3.5% down payment, okay? And if we give you 5%, it means there's 1.5% to pay toward your your closing costs, because down payment is not all there is. When you look at down payment, that's one number. It's either 3.5%, 5% or 3%, depending on the program. Then you have closing costs. Closing costs, I always tell my clients, just budget mentally until we have a discussion. Otherwise, 5%, and then we can talk in details. And that's where Kenyatta and I add value, is we can talk, but ultimately we need to have a customized conversation about your scenario so we can tell you, how does it work for you? Okay, we're not going to go, when we go buy our clothes, we don't just say, hey, I see a shirt, let me have that. No, what size is that?
Right.
Okay,
It
what
sure
are
fits.
yeah, let's make sure this fits. So 30-year mortgage, open to first-time home buyers and repeat buyers. Okay, so keep that in mind. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer. All right, so that's a great program. And with the Access Zero, we can do that 2-1 buy down seller. Okay, we can't do 3-2-1, but we can do 2-1. Okay, so we can do a 2% rate decrease the first year and 1% rate increase the second year, or we can just do a 1-1. Just depends again on the seller. How can they participate in what our ask in this example? Okay, so we've got options at the whole point, and that's just a few of our options. We do, renovation financing. Maryland Mortgage Program is a down payment assistance program here in the state of Maryland. They are now doing renovation financing, which we do renovation financing anyway. Our company is the #1 renovation lender in the country, and also not #1 top VA lender in the country. Last year, we had a $4.2 million VA finance deal close. So we're really excited and happy about that. And we do VA renovation financing. Hey, we got it all. We're a top 1, 2, 3, lender in the country. You're not that big. You don't become that successful without doing a whole lot of products. And listen, bottom line, that's where I team up with no matter what. I'm always going to be with companies who have everything to offer my clients because, there's no one size fits all. I have to be able to customize each my loan programs for my clients.
Got it. Brian, I would love to have you come back to discuss more of this that you just showed.
Sure, absolutely. Love
Um,
to.
we can do that. And we have a little bit of time left, so I do want you to um, say how people can get in touch with you.
Sure, absolutely. You can go to first of all, call me at 202-409-8103, 202-409-8103. If you want a meeting, to say, hey, could you please send back your calendar? I'll send you back my digital card, and you just book an appointment. We have options of 15-minute chat, 20 minutes, or 30. For introductions, I like to do 15 to 20. That way, I ask you I call my 6 power questions,
Okay.
6 profiling questions, just to find out who you are as a client. And that's really going to be helpful to you and to me as I set things up. It's like me taking your measurements. All right. How tall are you? What's your inseam? Et cetera, et cetera. What's your arm length? What's your neck size? So yeah, we'll custom fit you a mortgage to fit your scenario with those 6 questions. And the main question you heard me talk about in the beginning, which is really indirectly, what is your maximum monthly payment? Okay, that's the question that you really want to ask yourself. How much do you want to pay per month? All right. So then you also have my email address, Brian Washington at theloandepot.com. Brian spelled BRIAN Washington at loandepot.com. No capitals, no periods. And then it's just Brian Washington at loandepot.com. So you can go out to, my website, which is at loandepot.com/ Brian Washington, and you'll see my information there as well. Be glad to help. And what we'll do ultimately is get your application done as soon as possible. Sometimes my clients, they just go out there and they fill out the application. I love that. All right. I'll send you back a list of documents that you need to send in for me to finish up your, pre-approval. Because at the same time, I want you to lock in a 30-minute meeting after you complete your application, really. So that way we get back on the phone, we do a Zoom call like this, not for all the world to see, but just for, you and I, the client, for us to go over your numbers and go over the process and hopefully just issue you a pre-approval letter. Worst case scenario, I'm going to give you an action plan and say, here's what you need to do next to get ready. All right.
I like homework assignments for clients.
Yeah.
It shows how serious they are, how committed they are.
Absolutely. We're a football family, so I was sharing with someone last night. Clients are like recruits. Sometimes, recruits come in the door. You say, "Hey, you're ready to go? Go see the equipment manager and pick out your jersey number. Let's go." And then the others say, "Listen, I want you on the team. I think you got the right attitude. Hey, you're calling me. You're here. Let me tell you, Kenyatta and I would both tell you that's a start. That's a huge start. It takes a lot to even reach out to us. So what we're going to do is, avail ourselves to you to be a coach. And sometimes you have to tell the recruit, hey, listen, you're ready to be on the team, but I need you to do the following first. All right. We want to get you a jersey. We want to get you out there. I want to send you right directly to the equipment manager. But first, I need you to take a couple months to do the following. All right. So, yeah, this has been great, Kenyatta. I really do appreciate you inviting me on your show.
Thank you again. Learn about some buy downs.
Yeah, absolutely. Buy downs are a great product, great way to, get yourself into this new market that we're in. We're not sure when this market's going to go. In other words, when our interest rate's going to drop. We're not 100% sure. But what we do know, we do have products right now. Because listen, here's the thing, if nothing else too, remember, you don't, wait for interest rates to drop. Why? Because guess what? You're going to have tons of other people who are now ready to buy.
Yeah.
Okay? That's going to do what? Drive prices up.
Yeah.
Prices don't go. Yeah. Prices don't come down because you have a lot of people that want the same house. Prices go up. It's best to, as always, we've always learned, never follow the crowd. Right now, the crowd is probably sitting on the sidelines because it's February, it's cold, and interest rates are higher than what they used to be. Okay, if you're ready to buy, if you're thinking about you're ready to buy, this is the time to be out here right now with us. Kenyatta and I being the transaction team, making it happen for you.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. Again, great show. This is all about sharing the love and information to people out here who want it. And again, I hope you all use this to your advantage to better your families and your situation, whatever it may be. Buy, refinance, renovate, investor, first home buyer, move up buyer. We're here to help.
Yeah, good information. Good info.